Listen. Short story long.
Welcome.
It could take your whole life.
Preach.
Develop clarity.
Second, patience.
If it scared you, you should probably do it.
Whatever you think you don't have, you have something else in its place.
Listen. Short story long.
Go, Woody, go.
Preach.
Listen.
Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Short Story Long. I am very, very excited. Lauren, we talked a little bit before we started recording.
Yeah.
But what I didn't tell you is that especially over the last 3 years, I didn't grow up a reader, but especially over the last 3 years, I've been just devouring books.
Wow.
Of all different types. Some self-help, some. Right now I'm reading the biography of the Wright brothers. And I have to say, and this is not because you're here, your book resonated with me as the most sort of clear, actionable advice of any of the books of that type that I have read.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I am very excited. To me, this is like having a celebrity in the building.
Aww.
You know what I mean?
Yes, thank you.
So thank you for coming. I know you're only in LA for a short time, but you squeezed me in and I appreciate it.
Excellent.
So can we start with just filling my audience in on, I would say, what you do, the types of people that you work with, and then I want to get into how you even become this.
Yeah.
You're a fascinating person. You have a lot of skills.
Yeah.
I just want to try to learn all that in a
right.
quick amount of time.
So start with...
Who you, what you do, and the types of people that you work with.
All right. So I run an executive life coaching education company, which means I work with it. If you're like, where do you make the money, Lauren?
Yeah.
I'm with the executives, right? What else do you do? I care deeply about people's lives. And so I have another division that is life coaching.
Yep.
And love coaching and body coaching and career, sorting oneself out so they're happy in their life.
Yep.
And then education is really where I give it all away.
Yeah.
Where I go into high schools, I work in foster care, I work in universities, fanciest universities going, like Stanford Business School, MIT, over 30 universities, give it away there. And what I'm doing is I run a coaching program and an education program where there's a much better way to hack in to one's mind and break into one's inner dialogue and really deal with how to create your life, design your life, face the shit in your life and do something about it now versus long-term therapy. Nothing wrong with long-term therapy, but I'm like a hacker and I want to hurry.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And the planet's burning.
And we don't have much time anyway.
And, life's going to be over shortly for me.
So you might as well
so I
enjoy
need
it.
to fucking hurry. And so do you. If I have to hurry, you have to hurry.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, we got to hurry.
You know what, a question I wanted to ask you is I personally think, once again, at the risk of sounding a little like the preachy dad here, that this life coaching, I think life coaching gets a bad rap. I think that it's looked at by a lot of people as something that drug addicts get to stay focused. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
I do. I think that a lot of people, that aren't exposed to life coaching, they hear life coach and they think what's so wrong with your life that you need a coach to tell you how to live, right?
Fair enough.
I also think that all of this stuff that you talk about is it is insane to me that it's not taught or accepted on a bigger level.
When I started being a coach, right? First of all, I'm 49.
Okay.
I started at 28. There were no life coaches.
Yeah.
It was I'm that, right? And then my joke is not only did I have to invent something that didn't exist, I then had to compete in it. It didn't exist, I was one. Then here's basically, 15, 20 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah.
And now there's thousands of them, right, everywhere. And what is it? So it's a, so that's, it's a fair problem because it is goofy. People can become a life coach in a weekend.
Yeah.
Right. So, so it's like a,
It's just, why do you think that we don't think about, like, you go to middle school, you go to high school, you go to all this school.
Yeah.
Nobody addresses any of this, except for maybe if you have a really good coach on like a football team.
No, they don't even do it there.
Right?
No, because no one knows how, because if that teacher isn't in a happy marriage, they don't like their body. They never addressed, you don't know they're drinking at night.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're all the things we keep secret are the things that we need to learn about.
Yeah.
Right? So are you having a good sex life? Are you happy? Did you forgive your mother for everything she didn't do and did do? Like all this stuff, no one talks about any of it.
Yeah.
Right? That's like it's as if it's going to get handled in church, which we all know isn't happening there either. Yeah. So, the human race doesn't go deep.
Yeah. That's why. That's why. We don't address it because it's the real shit. So it's easy to learn algebra because nobody's getting personally offended.
Yeah. And then what I teach, like if you're like, what's the core of what I teach? Ready? I'm going to try and make this sound sexy and fun, but listen to how unsexy and fun this is. Like, ready, everyone? We all need to stop lying.
Yeah.
Right? We're such liars. We're fakes. We don't tell the truth about most anything. And then we wonder why we don't feel anything or don't have self-respect.
Yeah.
Except we're busy lying to make other people happy or covering our asses. Yeah. Anybody want to talk about all the ways we lie? Right? Science even says we lie 11 times a day.
That seems light.
I do. I agree. But
it's significantly more.
When was the last time anybody admitted the 11 lies they could admit? Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like this horrendous thing that we don't want to talk about what's under the hood.
Yeah. So lying is also another way. To me, this all comes down to not talking about the real stuff. And lying is just a way to put another barrier in between you and the real thing.
Yes. And trust me, if you go look for a life coach, I promise they're not talking about all the ways you lie, right? That's only my method. My method goes after human deep dynamics. Yeah. Right? And how to hack in and talk about it with love and a sense of humor. I'm actually out. And then the other thing I get killed for in my method, is like, Lauren, you talk so negative. You make everybody want, like as if it's all, like unicorns and happy. Yeah. And I'm like, humans suck. Yeah. We suck. Yeah. We lie, we cheat, we steal. We're like, come on. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's get funny about it at least. Yeah. Can we at least get funny about it? I'll tell mine if you tell yours. Yeah. Right? And so then I get in trouble for being so negative.
That's funny, man, because it's not negative.
No.
It's sort of blunt, but you don't say, like, you're a loser, stop being a loser. Do you say
I just
that?
say you're a liar, stop being a liar.
That's fine.
I call you brat. I call people brats, chicken, and weather reporters.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get into all that, but what I want to know, I'm so excited.
I am an absolute name caller.
Yes, you are.
But don't you worry, I call myself a name too, right? This is
as long as you're
range.
Equal.
I'm the original brat, chicken, weather reporter. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm my first asshole. Mm-hmm. Right?
Okay, so we'll talk about all that. This is what I want to wrap my head around before we get going.
Yes.
How do you even become this? How you started this at 28 when there is no model for how to become it.
Right.
You're now only 49, which is still very young to have all of this information and be working with this caliber of people. Yes. Right? Like, I can understand maybe if you were some like wise old woman and it's like, oh, she compiled that over 87 years. It's pretty quick. Yeah. What was your life before you decided to become a life coach? What made you sort of even start looking at life this way, or did you always? And then how do you start once you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. So first of all, I was an athlete. Like, I cared about athletics. Mm-hmm. I was stoned when I wasn't caring about being an athlete. And then I was definitely doing the boys as a bad girl. Okay.
Where'd you grow up?
Long Island.
Okay. Long Island bad girl.
Long Island Jew. Yeah. Anyway, and then I came from an Orthodox Jewish family. No, I didn't marry a Jewish man. So I was definitely a rebel. Fortunately for my parents, I was the fourth kid, so the other three were the goody two-shoes, and I was the black sheep.
They could stand to...
Right, so they were like, the runt ran away, okay? Right, so I was the runt that ran away, who sucked, right? So that was... Right, and then by the time I got to college, I couldn't understand partying anymore.
Because you had done so much of it?
Like, really, people? You need another drink, right? Like, I don't need another drink.
Got it.
Right? Like, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Right? So I got, for the first time in my life, I got straight A's and decided to get a life.
Wow. And that was just, it just happened.
No, I was like, I grew the fuck up in like, I'm not like, because by the time I got to college, everyone at college like had never been free before.
Yep.
And
you
that
were
was
the opposite.
not, I had lived, I was a very good liar. Ha ha ha. Where'd you get the lying from? Like, I was the original liar.
Yeah.
Right. So I grew up, you know, transferred. Right. And then I was an environmental studies major. Yeah. Right. So I was like, save the planet. And my joke was, save the planet, kill the people. Yeah. I knew it. It was the humans that had to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I figured out how dumb that sounded.
Yeah.
And then I shifted so I got a BS in environmental studies, did decent, then figured out how to go into self-help was the real answer. And then looked around the world of self-help.
Yeah.
I made the joke, they're all a bunch of self-helpians. It's like, if this is going to save the world, we're fucked.
Yeah.
I don't believe in this shit. Like, I better start one at a time. And so by the time I was 28, I'd rather see if I could change one person's life than pretend I could change thousands.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's how I started.
Who was your guinea pig? Who was your first one?
Like my first client ever.
Like, who was your first, like, all right, listen, Lisa, I got an idea.
I still have it. Like, this is their claim to fame, right?
Yeah.
So there is, you know,
It's a little man by the name of Barack
No,
Obama.
Nathan. Nathan wins my first pay. Like, this man, Nathan, definitely. So I have like a list of my first 10 clients ever. And you're like, are they still with me? Yes.
Really?
Oh, no one leaves me unless we break up
Yeah.
for good reasons.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Right. And then I have over, like, you know, I have 60 employees, right? So I'm not doing much of the work anymore.
Yeah.
Right. I developed it all, and then I do the parts I like to do.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is like, you know, I got 25 different coaches. I have a whole world of people.
Amazing. And then how do you, like, along the process, how do you, are you always like reading new research and like, is it always this constant pursuit of mastery?
Ready? Everybody brace yourselves. You're like, Lauren, do you read?
Didn't say it that way.
No.
Really?
Lauren, do you read? No. When was the last book you read? Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for that. You're like, does anyone read to you? I'm like, my husband reads to me. He does. That's like, we lay in bed. We have a date at 10 o'clock at night, and we meet in bed, right?
And he
for
reads to
obvious
you.
reasons.
Yeah.
But when we're not in the
get
obvious
warmed
reason,
up
not in
by
the obvious
getting
reason,
yeah.
we're in the other reason, which is he reads to me, right? And so you're like, how do you even get read? Right? So I don't read.
Yep.
And any book I ever read that had any influence on me, I quote.
Yeah.
But I hardly read. I don't really, you're like, if you ask me anything on popular culture, I will embarrass myself immediately. I don't read. I don't know shit.
Yeah.
And the only people I know about are my actual clients. Like, I care about them.
So would you say that the most of your learning along the journey came from working with real life human beings
If you and I want to figure out how to get you married, if you and I want to figure out how to get you an exciting marriage where you're allowed to be monogamish, right? I don't care. Like, I just want people true to themselves. And then I want to help you figure out how. If you want to build this company to do X, I'm in love with figuring out solutions to problems that come from a union of two people sorting it out together. And so my entire method, which eventually became rinse and repeat, and then I could teach it to someone else, came from what I call a three-legged race. You and I are gonna, like, I'm gonna figure out your dreams, and then I'm gonna make you fucking do them. And then any problem you have, we're gonna figure that shit out. Right? And so all the method came from, why are you so like your mother? What the fuck is up with that? Right? Why are you dating a drunk? Why are you doing, like, what's up? And so everything I ever figured out, I didn't read. I understood.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so amazing, because I think that's another, like, another judgment of, like, big life coaches is like, oh, so you just have everything figured out? So you're just this enlightened one? And I think even just hearing, like, know this took years and years and years of problem solving with actual human beings, and that's how I've gotten even to this point. I just think it's good for people to hear, because I think another thing about the life coach issue is it exposes people's insecurities, because they're like, oh, so you have all the answers, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing just fine, thank you.
That's not, I teach personal integrity.
Yeah.
Which is an ability to keep a promise to yourself. And most humans keep promises to everyone else on earth. Yeah. And that makes me a little nauseous. Not like you shouldn't keep promises to other people, but God damn, what'd you come here for? Yeah. Like, what the hell are you doing here? Yeah. Like, how are you going to be in love with your life? I don't care what your answer is. So I'm not coming to give you answers.
Yeah.
I'm coming to make you fucking answer.
Yeah.
So I'm not in the tell you what to do.
Yeah.
As much as I'm going to tell you, you better figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Right? And what are you going to do about that? And then I'll fire you if you don't. I'm also not going to, I don't let my coaches stay with people unless they're really here to do the work too. So I'm also tough.
Yeah.
Tough. So we're really coaches.
Would you say like that's like, because I think this is one thing that sounds really simple and that is difficult, but it sounds so simple, is like this idea of saying, I'm going to do that. I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
Here's what it takes for me to lose weight.
Sure.
I'm going to do that and then do it.
Yeah.
It sounds so easy. Why is that so hard for people?
The way I lay it out, like I have diagrams. I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah.
Right? So actions lead to results. Actions lead to results. Actions lead to results. No question about that. That shit's hardwired. Actions lead to results.
Yeah.
Okay. Question isn't, do actions lead to results? It's why are you taking those actions and not taking those actions?
Yeah.
Okay, great. See inner dialogue. Bam. Welcome to your mind. Right? It said push snooze. It said fuck that. It said it'll never happen for you. There's an it.
Yeah. What is that it?
The it, where does the it come from?
Yeah.
The it truly comes from lineage, heritage. Like it comes from your family. I'm sorry. But that comes from the beginning of time. How cool is that? Yeah. Right? So it's really quite epic, right? You're a man, your family came from here, you look a little Irish, you got a little, and then all of that creates who you are today. Yeah. And then that creates your inner dialogue, right? You have an inner dialogue. So I make people dissect their personality and their inner dialogue so that they can hear what the voice is saying in there. You are not the voice in your head. Yeah. Except most people don't hear the voice in their head, don't even know what it just fucking said. Yeah. Right? And it doesn't think, it's like, oh, I know that's me-ish. What do you mean? Right? And that voice gets you to eat a cookie, gets you to have a fifth drink. Yeah. It gets you to lie. Except it got you the cookie, so you have a very serious voice in that head. Yeah. That is very addicted to its dark side and its vices. And
is that the core of, that feels to me like the core of everything, of a happy life, of being what you want to be, and of being a chubby loser in the basement, right? It just feels like it's all in that battle.
I fucking don't even care if you want to be chubby. Just be proud of it.
Chubby,
no. It's the pride versus you made me, or I can't help it, or I wish I was different, but I'm not. Yeah. Right? I'm more into how we shame ourselves and believe the voice, and how that's really a level of unconsciousness. Yeah. Like we are closer to the Chihuahua. So the dog sees the owner ring the bell. There is no reason to bark. Can't help it, right? Like there is a part to the human that is still so Pavlov dumb. Yep. And so that's what I like. And I really am the hack that believes and have proven we can change our mind. Yeah. We can take over the narrative. There is real ways to be in love with your life, and no, it is not religion. It is not coming from any of the from the past. Yeah. Thank the past. We appreciate you. But can we end it now?
Yeah. Do you think people can do it alone? Or do you think they need someone, even if it's an accountability friend?
Yeah,
someone?
I'm the wrong. That's now you're like asking the rabbi if you should come to the temple. So you're asking the wrong person.
Yeah.
The answer is I don't think we should do anything alone. I think alone is a lie. Right. I don't tell me anything in this room that was alone.
Yeah. Yeah, none of it.
And we don't have a second alone. There is nothing alone about being alive. As a matter of fact, we should all figure out that we're not alone, right? And get to work on how not alone we are and do better at building community and connecting with each other 100% more. Because for how lonely humans feel, it's a little weird. Right?
Yeah.
So I
just think there's something.
No, we need each other.
Yeah, I do. I think that there's something in you don't, let's say you're not in the position to afford a life coach or you don't have those type of people around you. You can, and you talk about this in the book, you can write out these things or these promises or these whatever and give it to a friend that will keep you.
100%.
But that's you got to do that.
You need an accountability buddy. Yeah. We have been trying forever to try and figure out a better word for accountability buddy.
I like it.
Right? Accountability buddy. But I teach, so in the method, it's if you make a promise, you need a consequence.
Yeah.
Right? And all you need, truthfully, all you need is your kids or anyone that you will pay the piper to. I promise I will meditate today. I promise I will exercise. I promise I'll only have 2 drinks if I do this.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever it is, there is no one you can't tell who won't hold you accountable. It's that you don't tell anybody. Yeah. So it doesn't need to cost any money. Yeah. Okay, granted, buy my book.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good
and
start.
then right, if you bought my book or you did I even have a program that I built that, yes, it costs something to get in the door, but once you're in the door, you never need to spend another dollar again. Yeah. And you can get an accountability buddy. You can get a tracker, a promise tracker. I've been building this for a long time to build communities together. Yeah. And it has Zoom in it. We can all watch each other, right, and talk to each other, meet each other, get a buddy.
Yeah.
So you don't have to practice.
So you can find a buddy on the site.
No, we put you together.
Ah, that's good.
And then you can
maybe it's better if it's a buddy that can't judge you the next day.
No, I know. His name's Mike.
Yeah. That's a little easier.
From Utah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
right?
Awesome. Yeah.
Someone you can ghost without getting in trouble.
Yeah. It's so good. And then also too, because you talked about the voice in your head, I didn't want to, I wanted to go back to what we talked about in the beginning. Is that so that struggle between the voice in your head, is that what caused you to name the weatherman, the brat, the chickens, to build awareness for what it is? Is that?
So I would say the minute you can tag a voice in your head, so there's lots of voices in your head, but there's not actually that many that are driving you nuts.
Yeah.
There's a few that are driving you nuts. Some you will attribute to your personality traits. Thanks, Mommy.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Right? So there's traits that are your parents. And then there really is just basic fear, which is the chicken, the voice of the chicken. Don't ask. Don't tell. Don't do that. Don't, right? Oh, God, you'll die. Right? Everything about don't ask the girl, don't do this, don't do that. You'll get in trouble, you'll get killed, something bad will happen to you. So fear is a constant negative voice that you are always believing. Yeah. The other one I call the brat, which is we're so fucking moody. Yeah. I'll do it tomorrow. Leave me alone. I'm I don't. Mom. Right? Really. Yeah. And then the weather reporter is these generalizations. I've never been good at that. I've always been this way. Yeah. I'm sorry. I suck at this. I can't. Yeah. I wish. Right? And so those voices keep us safe. Yeah. But actually in a choke. In our life. And so everything's about what vision, dream. What's worth it for you to fight for yourself? Yeah. Right? And it's right there. The cutest part of humans is that if you never ask the question and never force yourself to have to kind of sit with it, then you never get to find out how cute you really are, which is you do have dreams. You do care. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's bullshit. We came here on purpose to rock, not hide.
Yeah. Ah, so good. And then, so what do you do? Once again, without asking you to rewrite the whole book here on the microphone, what do now that I've recognized, oh my gosh, Lauren's right. I do relate to those voices that she's saying. Is it, I just tell them to shut up every time?
You get a vision.
Yep.
There really is a process. Like if you were going to go, I want to learn guitar.
Yep.
Anyone can learn guitar. I want you, anyone can learn how to master their mind and their inner dialogue. I understand it's not that popular on the planet. I understand no one even pretends they can even hear their inner dialogue at all, let alone tell on it. So there's this step-by-step, like a guitar, to learn, like to learn how to master your own inner dialogue so that you vote on what it's saying and not saying to you. Right? You have thoughts all the time. You are deflecting negative thoughts all the time. You are listening to it. You are believing ones. You are like it is not even interesting. You have to take over, right? Like this is so dumb.
Yeah.
How could you not? Like I could talk to anyone into this.
Yeah.
And then, so what do? Yes, you're going to have to do a little work. You're going to have to practice the guitar. It's true. If you're unwilling to do any of the work, will you figure this out without it? The truth is if you listen to enough of the content over and over again, never do the work, it'll break into. Honest to God. Does that make sense? Yeah.
That works.
It's like so I did a test on all my work, right? I've been here long enough I could test it now. Yeah. So I did a test of people who do the homework. Like, so my program Inner.U, where it's like the 12 sessions of all my storytelling and everything. Yeah. So you do the homework, rock and roll, right? Your life fucking changes, right? But don't do the homework, just listen. Yeah. Total life change. It's just
not as...
It's like a quarter.
Yeah, just a little...
But it's real. Yeah. Like, I lost 8 pounds. Like, I didn't even try. I just stopped. Like, so things start to change because it naturally instigates you. Yeah. Yeah. Right? So that is not doing P90X, right? Like, it's not the person who's doing the work. Yeah. But we change. We naturally change. Like, you watch a movie, it changes you. Like, things change. It's more like a little like whitewash. Yeah. But like, it works.
I mean, you can't listen to P90X and change.
Yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that's fair enough.
My question is no, that's great news though. What I'm saying is for all the people out there who might think like, man, this all sounds great, but I'm just lazy as shit. Here's the good news. Strap on some headphones. Just pump that thing through it and it'll make a little bit of a difference.
No, here's the secret. Mm-hmm. You're like, how many people, if they keep listening to it and they really listen to it, eventually do the homework?
Yeah.
I get you.
That's why, like, I'm really big on, like...
I'll get you.
Paying attention to what I take in, like, from a content perspective, the same way I am about food. Like, I look at, like, Instagram as, like, McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that...
You're talking to someone who doesn't read Instagram. You're like Lauren.
Yeah. You're like, what's on Instagram?
No, I don't. I do nothing.
Yeah. What do you take in? What do you listen to when you're in a car?
I'm a music junkie.
Got it.
I'm not in recovery from 90s hip hop. I'm like still.
Really?
I'm a hip hop.
That's amazing.
Hip hop.
What's your, like, if you had a top song?
You know, I am in trouble. Like, fuck, you can't do that to me. I'm like, you know, you're like, what? But okay, so I exercise. So I exercise to music, and I get on a song kick. Yeah. And I then think about, like, I have visions of content and people. I do all my work while I'm exercising. I love that. I actually think most people could have breakthroughs in their mind and in their connection to whatever you want to call that. Yeah. While they're pushing physically.
For sure.
So music is always been my favorite drug on earth. And so you're like, what song built the company? And I'm like, Eminem gets a shout out. Right? I'm like, are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, you got
right. So I'm like, you know, the Roots get a shout out, right?
That's amazing.
Fucking Kanye gets a shout out.
Yeah, I think that's what's so important is like you just starting to become aware of what you're soaking in, I think. And I think we talked a little bit before we started recording too about how much podcasts are catching on. I think that's part of the reason. Like, I think, like, because also, like, sort of business advice is more popular than ever. Like, it's cooler than ever to be an entrepreneur. You have people like Gary Vee and even the type of content I'm putting out, to be honest. I think the reason why that's becoming so popular is because people are feeling a change. Like, they are feeling like, man, I've been listening to this for an hour every week and I feel a little something different. And I just think that's what's so exciting about the accessibility to this type of content is you can start to notice that switch that doesn't happen in chemistry class and you know what I'm saying? You just didn't have access to this stuff.
Would I revamp school? Ugh. And I have 3 kids, right? So I'm,
Are they like middle school?
No, I have a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 10-year-old.
What do you tell them about school?
Well, since I sucked at it and cheated and was a pothead, they know the truth. I don't lie. Yeah. So I have my daughter, Kaya, is absolutely indifferent about school and has two jobs. Mm-hmm. And picked her jobs, got her jobs, loves what she's doing. Yeah. Right. And is obsessed. She'll be the entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right.
Yep.
And then my son, oddly enough, straight A student, honor student. I couldn't get him stoned if my life depended on it. I didn't mean anything. Don't come arrest me. It was a joke. But straight A.
Yeah.
I do nothing different for him than the other one.
Yeah, that's amazing though.
Right.
It's amazing when it happens because it happened.
I think that is even more interesting. Yep. People are so busy trying to control their children rather than, make sure they're fed and well and safe and then let them grow. Yeah. Right. And then the other thing is that, my husband and I have a great marriage. And so I think there's a lot. I think most people choke their little children into being things because they're in shit marriages. Yeah. Or some version of I'm here for the kids.
Gosh, it's so true. I mean, this is going to sound potentially really wacky, but I honestly believe more the more that I read and learn that this type of work is like where the foundation for the vast majority of our problems lie. Mm-hmm. Like domestic abuse and drug abuse and a lot of gang issues and violence and murder. I literally think it's from not knowing not having a purpose, not knowing what's in the way of that purpose, and not having a plan on how to get better, slowly keep promises, and feel better about yourself slightly every single day.
Yeah, no,
and nobody talks about it.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, Phil, in prisons is sexual abuse, which then makes all the addicts. No one was born dying to be an addict. Everyone, I really think abuse is...
But nobody's there to tell you how to work that out.
I think that's true.
Yeah. And I think people, not only that, I think people don't even realize how much little things can still cause, you know what I'm saying? There's people that just weren't abused, didn't have these traumatic experiences, but have these little things. Maybe their dad told them they were a loser, or maybe their mom said you're ugly, or maybe, that they don't accept how much that has shaped their habits and behavior, And once again, when nobody addresses it, you don't even get a chance to have that light bulb go off and say, oh, shit. Is that me?
People are like, what do I eat today? I got to get to work today. I have to pay my bill. So because life is so consuming and that intimacy is such a farce, right? Deep intimacy, right? There's no one teaching this anywhere. Yeah. And then when are you supposed to pick it up? I mean, the thing that's a miracle is because of what Handel's doing in companies. So if we stay in a company long enough, right, it's because we help people make a shit ton of money. Yeah. And you're like, how do you help them make a shit ton of money? We get them all to tell the truth with each other, and we get them all to deal with their bad behaviors that they don't have a sense of humor about, that no one calls each other out on, and people hate each other, but no one's allowed to talk about it. Yeah. And so we get all that out in a month. And then we get people to work, right? And then that's really fun, right? And then they can care about their lives. Make sense? So for example, in Live Nation, right? We're helping everybody's marriages. We're helping everybody's kids.
Really?
We're helping. Yeah.
Because it just naturally goes to that, right?
Well, Michael, Michael, the CEO, he cares deeply that his people are happy, right? They're already running the world, right? They're already rocking that. Now, what else are they going to do, right? His claim to fame is that, anyone who works for Live Nation can have as many in vitros as they want, right? Because their healthcare is that good, right? So, but now he has what we do, which is really helping people have great lives, right? And what's a great life? Forgive your mother, right? Like get over that, recover from that, right? Like deal with that, right? You don't, get divorced. It's okay,
Yeah.
right?
I love that you say that. Like, I don't even, not that I've ever even spoke on or thought about my feelings on that. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I'm saying I love that you openly say that. And you said something on, I think it was my friend Tom Bilyeu's podcast, where you said that people know when they're walking down the aisle why they're going to get divorced.
They really,
What do you mean by that?
the list in their head, to this day, I have never met a married person who got divorced who didn't know the list walking down the aisle. Right?
Is it those things you're trying to shut up and trying to act like don't exist?
It would be no different than if I go, tell me about your executives, right? And tell me, like, are you worried about any of them? Okay, tell me the list.
Yeah.
Right? And you'd be like, well, I'm really hoping, right? Except now you have to live with that person. This is not like working on an executive, or like that's actually a cousin once removed, right? And you can really have that conversation. This is not someone raising your children, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so people want to get married. People want to get something checked off their box.
Yep.
Like there's a box to check, right? And they think it's right. And then they're like, we built something together. Right, so now you're in, you live together. Like it's as if like you have to finish the book. Yeah. Right, it's chapter 12. Of course you got to keep going.
Yeah.
I hope the list in my head about like how compatible, how's the sex, right? I'm like, well, I love him. He's such a good man. I said, how's the sex?
Yeah. Oh, man. And what do you like?
How long do you think that's okay for?
I know.
I'll tell you exactly. It's 2 kids, not even the third.
That's how long it lasts, you said?
Sex was lame before you got married.
Yeah.
You give it on a scale of 1 to 10 a 6, right? But it's pretty good. How many kids do you get out of a bat? Like, how is that okay with you? And it lasts till this point. Yeah. And then it starts to devolve. How does it devolve? Someone's going to cheat.
Yeah.
Or it gets nasty.
Yeah.
And then it becomes about the kids. I'm sorry, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
You believe in that?
No.
You want that?
No.
You better know yourself. You better find a really good partner.
That's what, man, what I love, it seems like so much of this is based on like exposing, because even if it's your future husband or wife, your employee, yourself, so much of it is like stacking things that are wrong that you're just going to pretend you're okay with, right?
You're a hero. You think you're actually, most people, my joke, bad words, remember?
Yeah, let them fly.
Martyrdom.
Yeah.
Fucking martyrdom. Yeah. Like any place you're like, I have no choice. I'm the one. I'm the, like. Do they know you think that? And do they know the list you're not telling them that you're being such a martyr for? Really?
But you also have it on yourself and you're this and you're that.
Inner dialogue. So what I do, like the whole method is to get you to, my joke is I get you to answer all these questions and I get you writing. And basically I call it purging, puking.
Yeah.
Right? What did you puke out? I said, by the time I'm done, I go, everything you wrote, everything you came out with, I will, in about 13 seconds, I will call it your lower self.
Yeah.
And if I tell you that's your lower self, who said that? Your higher self. A higher self came to judge. Like, do you really believe that? Do you hear this? Like, I can't teach you anything till you get it all out of you. Yeah. And then I can show you how to be epic. Right? Or never lie. How about that? Right? Like,
that's the basis.
The basis is if you're going to do something, don't be ashamed or embarrassed of it. Yeah. If you're drinking at 12 at lunch, you're not busy mouthwashing yourself, right? Like, right? Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, love yourself enough to be what you are. Yeah. Oh, you don't love it? Oh, you can't do it? You can't tell it to your kids? Right?
Yeah.
I bet you should do it.
Yeah. Is that, do you look at it like a muscle that builds? Like, do you look at it like when you first start working with someone and they're like, you find out they're lying, they're not keeping promises, they're not who they thought they were, all this stuff. Is that accountability?
It's awareness.
A muscle?
It's awareness. Yeah. I promise you and I, if I got you to do your homework and you really did it, and then we sat down, you and I will have a conversation you never heard coming.
Yeah.
right? Because the very self that's protecting you, even though you're freaking ambitious and you'd have, one would call you an older soul than the average bear,
Yeah.
right? Because you didn't need to go to school for that. You didn't need to do this for that. You didn't, like you just you were truer to yourself than most, right? So people are as true as they are to themselves. And you have a gauge of how much you're lying and managing to keep other people happy rather than figuring out what the fuck you want badly.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, people. We came to be true to ourselves, right? For real. And I know that still sounds hokey, but how you doing on your own gauge? And then I break life out into 12 different areas so no one can hide. Yeah. And just like, I'm great in my career and see my girl?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How about your mommy? How about your sisters? Right? How about everybody? Like, how about your adventures? How about being like, so I just want people to think and talk so then they can address it all.
Yeah. Another really good one that I like that I highlighted in the book is, because I think is so important, is you said something along the lines of we act like things happen to us.
Yes.
And we react. And oh my gosh, like, blah, blah, blah happened and this is the way it is.
Yes.
The world sucks.
Yes.
When in reality, we have a truth already made up in our minds and we seek out to prove it right.
Yes.
I am fascinated by that. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So we think we know. We know how our mother's going to be. We know how it is in the morning. We know how we are about lots of things, right? And when you think you know something, 1 + 1 is 2. When are you investigating it again? Ever, right? So if you think that employee is starting to mess with you, like, I don't know if he's really any good, right? Like, is he really good? I think he's blowhard, right? Like, is he a blowhard? Right? And so God forbid you get in your little head, maybe he's a blowhard, right? Then do you understand? You walk into the meeting, whether you knew you were thinking that or not. If it's the girl, I want the girl. Now you're like, where am I going to sit? Right? So you're always conducting your life according to some focus, right? What's the focus? Now, I don't need to even know I could tell you your focus by watching how you run in a meeting, how you interact. I can tell you, it's almost like I can figure out your tagline in that meeting. Oh, he's annoyed and he thinks everyone's fucking with him. He is excited to get the hell out of here. He doesn't even think this is important. Yeah. Right? He's in a hurry. Right? So we're always conducting to some theme. Yeah. And then we're managing to that theme. The point is that we never know what the fucking thing. Are you clear? And do you even like what the focus is? Yeah. And so that's starting to master your inner dialogue to actually work for you versus your it's bitch.
Yeah. I'm blown away by the idea. And for me, I'll be honest, I didn't grow up thinking this way. I wasn't taught this sort of stuff. I think the biggest thing that like blew my mind was the idea of living like as someone creating their world around them. And like, okay, so if you're going to do that, what world are you going to create? And answering those questions and saying, okay, I am this type of person. Yeah. Instead of someone who just tries to get along in this world and like, man, I'm awkward, or I'm really not good at meetings, or I'm, and then you have one bad meeting and it's like, okay, I'm not good at meetings, or I'm not good at podcasts, or I'm not, you know what I mean? Like when I started doing this podcast, I tell the story a million times, but I would literally 20 minutes in, I would start thinking of ways while you're talking, ways that I could have an excuse to get up and walk outside because I felt so, but I knew that I could get to this. Yeah. But damn it, I was, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't what I thought.
I think that's real heroism on earth, right? If I was going to no, but if you're not scared out of your freaking wits about achieving something that seems like on the other side of fear, right? If you're not chasing the other side of fear, you are not having nearly enough fun. Yeah. Right?
And I just love, the thing that I love the most about how you do it is you chase the other side of fear, but somehow in a lighthearted, silly way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going first, right? If I'm going to do it, I have a funny tagline because I really do teach taglines. Yeah. Like the more you can invent a tagline, the more you will know if you're on point. Yep. Like, don't work that hard, folks. Yep. Like what's you can always ask yourself, what tagline am I running on right now? Get me out of here. I want to leave. This is awkward,
Yeah.
right? The minute you can call out anything, you can have a choice. Minute. Like, this is annoying. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to do about that?
Yeah.
Right? Flip it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm off. Right. So, and then and that's the fun of finding out that the world is according to whatever you're focused on.
Yeah.
Right? If you're focused on, I want to make money. Whatever you're focused on.
Yeah.
Right? It starts to go a different way. But if your focus is I wish I could figure out how to make money.
Yeah.
I wish I could figure out how to make money. Does that sound like someone who goes, I figured it out?
No.
No.
Someone who's always wishing.
Right? I hope I could get the girl is not, oh, I get the girl.
Yeah.
Dude, one's way more fun than the other. And one says you got to walk up and say something.
Yeah.
Right?
I bet, have you seen some like just insane transformations?
Oh my God, yeah. That's all I'm a junkie.
I know, but I just
I'm a
have to
junkie.
believe, like you have seen, I just could picture someone who, like with getting the girl or doing the thing or like
Unbelievable.
teaching someone to reframe that entire dialogue, which it just seems like you so clearly lay out, has to be. Is there anyone that sticks out to you? I know you can't say, but do you have one or a couple that
I have my most favorite one right now,
Yeah.
which was a chick doctor, epic doctor. Never thought, had a terrible relationship with her mother. And I was like, God knows what's going to happen. You may want children if we fix that sick relationship with your mommy. And she's like, no. And I'm like, I don't know. That's what, I think that explains why you're so violent about human procreation.
Yeah.
You're a little violent, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if you do or don't, right? But we're going to fix your relationship with your mom because it's fucking up a bunch of shit. Fix his relationship with mom.
Yeah.
It literally changed. She wanted to have children. Ready? It's way worse. Wakes up to the man she's with will never have any more children. And that I gave her the newest, worst problem of her life.
Yeah, you just went right to another one.
Right? Yikes.
Yeah.
Right? So fair enough, the marriage was fine to end, right? It wasn't the greatest marriage of her life. She's pregnant. She's 8 months pregnant now. Literally. And
With
then
a new person.
love of her life. And then this guy, the cutest story is this Navy SEAL. He's a Navy SEAL. This Navy SEAL was in love with her for years because she's a big deal doctor who does athletic, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Right? It's been the day she got divorced, even mentioned she was single, man moved to tears.
Yeah.
I knew it.
And he was just waiting.
Bam.
Just fell into a Navy SEAL's arms. Yeah.
Right?
But didn't even know that was a problem.
It still gives me, I am a conduit.
It's interesting.
The concepts create much faster speed of change.
Yeah.
And they're it's once you know how to use a GPS,
Yeah.
really, you're taking out a map, human?
Yeah.
Right? So I have knowledge that, once upon a time a guy called it uncommon knowledge that belongs being common.
Yeah.
But the minute you learn it, it changes everything.
Yeah.
That's what this is. That's the era we're in. Hurry, people.
It just feels like it feels like literally we're learning that food affects your health. It just feels like such a massive thing that we don't talk about that way. Or an injury makes you limp.
Agreed.
Makes your leg limp if you sprain your ankle. I don't know.
That's funny. Mark Hyman and I make this hysterical joke. I'm I'm trying to teach people not to lie and tell the truth and figure out what they really think and want to say.
Yeah.
And I'm and you're teaching people that broccoli is good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eat broccoli.
And even that's hard.
Trust me, everyone's broccoli.
Yeah, are you
They
sure?
still look like they're 6 years old.
Yeah.
About broccoli.
It's true. This is another part that I absolutely love, and I've tried to retell this story a bunch of times, but I don't do it nearly as good as you do.
What?
The idea of emotional DNA.
Yeah.
And the idea of, once again, on Tom's show, you said it if the bear sees his sister getting eaten by a bear,
right.
Not only does he know for the rest of his life bears are bad, but
Right.
his unborn children know
Yes.
bears are bad.
Yes.
And then you have this study. This is mind blowing. This study in the book with mice, and they taught them to fear cherry blossom.
Yeah.
Will you tell that story and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
explain what? Because I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Okay. So first of all, this all speaks to humans have the epis. I call it the epis for epigenetics, like epis, right? Like you've got the epis, right? And the epis really are that you think, whether you know it or not, the thoughts in your mind came from somewhere, right? Like, and where do they come from? Your choices, your emotional choices. Right? You don't just have your dad's blue eyes, you have your dad's wandering blue eyes. Okay? Yes, that means cheating. Okay. Okay, just in case I sounded
Just in
like
case
you
you're not following.
it wasn't just looking, it was getting. And guess what? He was good at that. And yes, your mother didn't know shit. And yes, you've cheated on every girlfriend you've ever had. And you're like, I guess I'm a cheater. I'm like, no, I guess your daddy was. Or your grandpa and his grandpa and his grandpa. And you're like, yeah? I'm like, yeah. Epigenetics. You know that for muscles. Do you know that for behaviors? And the answer is it's just not alcoholism. It's all of it, right? Okay. So now here goes the mice. So this is the study they did that really proves epigenetics, which is they took mice and they made them smell cherry blossoms and electrocuted their little feet at the same time. Ah! Right. Okay?
Yep.
True. Okay. Next thing that happened, those little puppies were not pregnant at the time. They then got them pregnant and made babies. Babies came out with extra sensors for smelling cherry blossoms. Never existed in the nose. One generation could smell cherry blossoms. Are you fucking kidding?
Oh, that's so
Right?
insane.
Like they literally needed to be. So evolution is happening right now, which is what I want. Like right now, if you start having a better sex life with your wife, does that mean your kids will have a longer marriage and a healthier relationship to sex, right? If you're drinking 5 drinks right now, does that mean your kids will think when they're happy they should have a drink?
Yeah.
I am sorry. It's called the epis. Yes.
That's what I love, because I met someone, and I met a bunch of people, but this one person I had on the show in particular said, I felt like it was my responsibility to change the economic situation for the next generation. So my
Yes.
whole family was always
Yep.
broke, whatever. From just my generation, now my family, my goal is that my family will forever not have to struggle with money, right?
love that.
Amazing. Love it. Love the way of looking at it. Love putting that much purpose on yourself. Awesome.
Right.
The idea that you could literally do the same thing, but with like behaviors and habits and instincts for your family is pretty insane.
It's when I really learned this, it was, and this is when I like needed to go read.
Yeah.
There was a woman who came to me that I helped. She had to decide whether to get divorced or not,
Sheesh.
and had a 7-year-old. And I was like, she was drinking, smoking. She was a mess. I was like very successful, but like, why don't we clean you up first?
Yeah.
Let's make you likable,
Yeah.
decent human, and then we'll sort out the man part, because maybe you're not that fun.
Yeah.
Maybe it ain't him. Maybe it's both of you. Maybe it's you, right? And so we clean her up, okay? Really, and she's free, happy, and she really looks over at the guy she had already. It was not good. It was not good. She had already cheated on him. She had she was going to have to either she was committed and come and clean about everything, or she was just going to get divorced and call it a day.
Yep.
Gets divorced. Great. Living happily ever after.
Yep.
Bye, bye. Right? Years, maybe a year and a half go by, and I get a witchy feeling about her. I call her. She's moving in with her new boyfriend. Why? Who moves in? Tell me about him. He needs a green card. Spanish. Very hot dancer. 28.
How nice.
Exactly what your kid needs.
What a
Wow,
cat.
this is really great. Can you do me a favor? Get to my couch. Get the hell over here. We did this was the first time, this was years and years, like almost a decade ago, right? I made her go tell, Dad had 4 marriages. Mom had 3.
Oof. She's up
Guess
against the
what?
epigenetic.
Guess what? Second marriage was a green card.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, I am fucked up for this thing. This is like spooky. This has got to be real. this I could never, like, that's Epi's.
Yeah.
I literally go, tell me about your life, and I will be able to tell you about your parents.
Yeah.
And their parents, right? It's just like you would say the genetics would give you like
Yeah.
how tall you are, how good you are at certain things.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So here's the obvious next question is, a lot of people are going to say, okay, great. So what that means is I'm a victim of I knew I was a victim of my genetics. Now I'm a victim of my epigenetics. So my dad's a cheater. I'm just bound to forever be a cheater.
Yes.
What do you do now if you just gain this information,
Yes.
now what do I do with it?
First of all, you have the knowledge of diabetes gets you to not eat the sugar. Like the knowledge of anything, right, teaches you to make different choices, right? None of the stuff that happened before you means it has to happen again. None of it, right? And so you could find out that, so someone who, I would more say not everyone's meant to be monogamous, right? Like have lots of partners. You want children? Great. Future race is not a biblical thing.
Yeah.
Right? Sorry, everybody. You can believe in it. You can do anything you want. Yeah. Right? But so I'm not telling you your solution is some perfect answer.
Yeah.
Right? So both my parents were smokers. Mm-hmm. Okay? Go, Lauren, how do you feel about tobacco? I'm like, I want it. Now.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, what do you do? I get 13 days a year.
To smoke cigarettes?
Spliff. Thank you.
13. How'd you come up with 13?
Because I figured out the holidays I wanted. 6 of the days are at Burning Man, right? So, right, and I can, if I wanted to smoke a cigarette, I could smoke a cigarette, but I like rolling my own. I'm a little weird and I'm a little, like, that's my thing.
That's no weird.
Right? You don't have to, if I can tell it to everyone in the world, I can do it. And so my kids know, it's like, how many days a year can I smoke where I am certain I will still live to 105 and I will not die? Right?
Yeah.
Of like dumb cancer.
Yeah.
Right? And enjoy my thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I teach, tell the truth, take your dark side or the things that came before you and figure out how you can have them without letting them kill you. Right?
It sounds so easy. Just like
it's as long as it's public and it's negotiated, you'd be amazed that most things people shouldn't be doing, they're lying about or hiding.
Yeah.
Right?
It just seems so practical. That's what I love about your stuff is normally you would say, okay, my dad's an alcoholic. And so what that means is either I'm going to have to fight like crazy my whole life and I can't even walk past the bar. Or that means I'm screwed. It is in my genetics. This is how I got here.
Yeah.
And the answer of like, okay, maybe you love alcohol. Maybe it came from here. So pick 15.
How many drinks do you get?
Yeah.
How many drinks do you get?
Yeah.
And
tell everyone.
Everyone knows, right?
Yeah.
No, I have the funniest contracts, right? So I hold people's promises.
Yeah.
Right? I call myself a spiritual contractor.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? I'm holding contracts,
Yep.
right? And my contracts are not about my opinion of what's right for you.
Yep.
They're like, what is your wife? Like your wife, your kids, what is your truth? And so one guy, his truth is 5, like Friday and Saturday, he can have 5 drinks a night. I'm like, I would be crawling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? No problem.
Yeah.
Right? He respects his answer.
Yep.
Right? So it's I don't care what you're doing. I care that you think you're okay if your kid did that too.
Yeah. Gosh, it's good. Okay. Here's the big ender questions.
Okay.
You have all of this information. You're only 49 years old. You just said you plan to live to 105.
Yes.
Where does this all go? Like you're already operating on such a high level. The book is incredible. You're working with massive CEOs. Like where do you go with all this? What would you like to say when you're 80 years old? Look what I did.
I will not. I have like a list of, I will not be happy, right? I'm happy. I will have a great life. I'm not worried about that.
Yep.
But in regards to like the results of how successful I am, like I'm waiting till my final blink to go, I did it. Yeah. What is it? It's how many people got changed, right? And I have a nickname, like my joke is flip the bird.
Yeah.
Right? Get the dark on the bottom and light on the top.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is for people to actually get how dark they are with love and a humor.
Yeah. So good.
Flip
Okay.
the bird.
What this one works good with you. I have these two big ender questions. And the reason why I like this first one for you is because your book, I believe each chapter has an assignment.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's like 13 assignments.
I'm
or
a
something?
homework junkie.
Love that. So here's a bit of a collab with my question and that theory.
Yes.
One of the things I ask everyone is, if you could prescribe anything to the entire world for 30 days and they have to do it, they have no choice.
Easy.
What do they do?
They have to trail their inner dialogue. They have to actually fucking be able to write, like pick something in your life that you're not happy in. Pick, like, I don't care if it's your body, if it's your lover, if it's your career, if it's your mother, right? Like, I don't care what it is. I want you to have to write down what your fucking inner dialogue is saying every time it enters the scene. And just actually write down what it said. Right? If you had to start to trail your inner dialogue, you will start to get, you're the one giving yourself the moods, like you will understand you are perpetuating something. And that thinker, that voice is creating your tone every next second. And it's the biggest leverage you could ever have.
Okay, last one. We have a magical time machine here. We just didn't tell you about it. And you can hop in it. And you can go to any part of your life that you choose and you can tell yourself anything. Where do you go and what do you say?
God damn. Where would I go? Okay. I think I would go back to my mid 30s.
Yep.
And tell myself I did not need to save all my friendships that I thought I needed to save, that there were more great people to come. Anyone who's hurting you, get rid of them, right? Like stop, drop, and roll, right? Like I like killed myself so many times to keep relationships that were not like, I'd shoot myself, right?
I think a lot of people do that.
I don't think as much as me. I
Really?
think I'm a bit of a
That's like a thing of
wackadoodle.
yours?
Well, because I know how to I could have amazing relationships with so many different types. And so then if a relationship goes south, I didn't know something, like I'm going to save everything.
Yeah.
Asshole. Like, fuck you.
That seems like a problem that like maybe like a life coach would have is that like, well, you can help everyone. So like, of course, like be my friend. You want to go get coffee? I just want to just have some coffee. I just have a few questions to ask you about my business. And I didn't ask myself what were the best of friends for me. Yeah.
Not was I other people's best of friend. Yeah. And then it wasn't even their fault, right? I don't even blame them. I overcompensate. I overgive.
Yeah.
And then it just like, what did I,
Yeah.
You want $100? You're like, yeah, sure. Yeah. You want 200?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
Right. So
I love this friendship.
This is great.
Yeah.
Right.
I get it. Okay.
So that was me.
There it is.
There it
we
is.
did it. Thank you so much. This is incredible. I'm really glad we were able to do it. And thank you for all your work. Thank you for the book. Thank you for it all. Keep on. Keep on going.
As you can tell,
We need a high
I
school
will not be
course.
stopping.
Lauren
I have a high
Zander,
school course.
High school course.
High school.
Guys, if you like that and you want to see more like it, as well as vlogs, other web series, and all the random stuff that I'm doing here on YouTube, don't forget to click that subscribe button. You won't regret it. I promise.